Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. July 31, 2019, the changes at the Department of Justice edition. And we start off with that as our signature article today, as reported by Dylan Toker in the Wall Street Journal Risk and Compliance Journal. The DOJ has recently appointed Robert Zink as head of the fraud section, but additional appointments were made. Dan Kahn, who had headed the FCPA unit, was named Senior Deputy Chief. Christopher Sestero, a Assistant Chief of the Foreign Bribery Unit, will serve as the unit's acting chief until the DOJ picks a permanent resident. And finally, Sally Malloy, who had served as the acting chief of the DOJ section on strategy, policy, and training, has been made the permanent chief. Her claim to fame is really the evaluation of corporate compliance programs 2019 guidance that she helped spearheaded. So congrats to all those who received appointments or promotions, rather, in the Department of Justice. We look forward to working with you in the future. Next up, from the also from the Wall Street Journal Risk and Compliance Journal, this time by Kristen Broughton. A Micronesia government official was sentenced to 18 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release for participating in a bribery scheme involving the owner of a Hawaii company looking to secure government contracts. Master Halbert was sentenced in federal court. He admitted to accepting bribes from Frank Leon, the owner of a Hawaiian engineering and consulting firm, in an attempt to secure some $8 million in contracts in Micronesia. Next up, in a very interesting article from Francine McKenna over at MarketWatch, she takes a look at the proxy fight currently going on between Carl Icahn and the Occidental board over their purchase of Anadarko. And she takes a look at it, indicating that Icahn may be right, but there may be a different reason than he has talked about. So the what she looks at is the inherent conflict of interest of the auditing firms of the company. She said that they both Occidental, Oxy, and Anadarko share the same audit firms, and indeed those auditors even share the same office here in my home city of Houston. This is an inherent conflict, but it's not clear what, if any, protections were put in place, although it's not clear what, if any, problems may have arisen. Nevertheless, when you have that sort of overlap without any protections, it's certainly one to raise potential conflicts of interest, and certainly Francine McKenna is capable and competent of raising that. So it's going to be interesting to see what Icahn does with that information that Francine has dug up. And then finally, an appearance, first appearance on the Daily Compliance News of the online news reporting service, TheHindu. TheHindu reports that the Central Bureau of Investigation in India has registered a case of alleged corruption against the UK-based Royce, its India arm, and a company located in Singapore, and unknown officials of the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited in connection with contracts worth millions of dollars. The inquiry began in March 2014 based on information in the Rolls-Royce ongoing massive bribery scandal that settled in 2016, I believe. 2017. And the CBI has alleged that's the CBI in India, has alleged that Rolls-Royce appointed a third party, knowing that third party would violate the company's restrictions on bribery and corruption to obtain contracts. If this is correct, it certainly points towards the settlement and potential additional liability. Hope you've enjoyed the new podcast we premiered last week, Accountability, the Heart of Compliance with Sam Silverstein. If you haven't taken a listen to, take a listen to, and give us a rating. Many thanks. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio.